Good day. This is a presentation on bonds. Bond is a debt instrument that entitles the holder to receive interest payment. So bond is an instrument given by corporations or government organizations to individual, signifying that the corporation or the government owes such individual, and therefore the individual is entitled to receive interest payment. Bonds are long-term instruments and can be issued by corporation or government, as already stated. And when it is issued by corporation, it is called corporate bond. When it is issued by government, it is called government bond. Now, the corporate bond pay higher interest than the government bond. This is because the corporate bond is riskier, has a higher risk because corporations can liquidate, corporations can have issues, can have financial issues, and can go bankrupt, therefore making it difficult for the individual, the holder, the bondholder, to receive his investment. On the other hand, the government remains forever. The government never ends. Government never ends. The leaders may change, but government never ends. And so the government bonds are more creditworthy. The government bonds are less risky when compared to the corporate bonds. Now, in order to determine the creditworthiness of corporate bonds, they are rated all around the world by some rating agencies such as Standard & Poor, Moody Investor Services, Fitch ratings agencies, and the ratings are usually in the form of AA+, AAA+, BB+, and so on. Now we have different types of bonds. We have the investment grade bond. These are bonds that are invested in because they have low risk. And we have the non-investment grade bond. These are bonds that carry very high risk. We have the secured and unsecured bond. The bonds are secured when they have security or collateral attached. However, when there is no collateral, it is an unsecured bond. Then the zero coupon bonds are bonds that have no interest attached. We also have the face value bond, which are bonds that are issued at nominal value. We have the corporate bond, which are bonds that are issued by corporations and mature between 5 to 12 years. We have the government bond, which are bonds issued by government and mature between 1 to 10 years. And lastly, we have the floating rate bond, which are bonds without a fixed rate of interest. Now, in computing or calculating bond interest, the formula is given as shown on the screen. And the C in the formula is represented by, it represents coupon payment. The R represents the market interest rate. The PV represents the par value of the bond, usually in thousands. The N represents the number of years. Now, when the coupon payment is the same, it is calculated as the par value multiplied by the coupon interest rate. And when the coupon payment is not even, the formula below is employed, while the items, the letters remains the same. The C as the coupon payment, the R as the market interest rate, the PV, the N still meaning the same thing. Now, market interest rate is the rate that commercial banks lend to the public, determined by the central bank. The coupon interest rate, the rate that bond issuers are willing to pay bondholders for the use of their money. That's the coupon interest rate. Is the rate the bond issuers, which can be corporation or the government, the rate they are willing to pay bondholders to use their money. The higher the bond price, the lower the interest rate, and vice versa. In other words, if the market interest rate is higher than the coupon rate, the prices of bond will fall. But if the market interest rate is less than the coupon rate, bond prices will rise. This is because the individuals who intend to invest in this bond would rather put their money in the commercial bank and get the market interest rates. And so there is these two rates, these two rates are rise and fall as against each other. So if the market interest rate increases, the bond rate or the bond price falls. So in other words, people don't go for it because the market interest rate is high, and holders or individuals will rather prefer to then, put their money in the bank. But when the rate falls and the bond price increases, people rather prefer to lend and be bondholders, invest in bonds and become bondholders. Now, factors that affect interest rates. Number one is the default risk. Risk is one thing that affects interest rates. The level of risk determines the interest rate. Number two is tax. Three is inflation and maturity. So these 4 points, these 4 factors determines or they affect the interest rate. They either make interest rate to increase or they make the interest rate to fall. And so determinant of bond yields. The determinant of bond yield includes the time value of money, the policy rate, borrowing programs, and transparency. These 4 factors also determine the yields of bond, how bond yields, the time value of money, the policy rate, favorable or not favorable. So these factors determine the yield, if they yield much or they yield little. These factors have a whole lot of role to play in determining the yields of bonds. This brings us to the end of the presentation on bonds. Thank you.